Hello and welcome to the first of 5 sessions of Legacy, Life Among the Ruins, which is by Jay Illes. I'm going to say Illes, it's probably how it's said, but it might not be. This is a Powered by the Apocalypse world-building, post-apocalyptic game, but generational. And we're going to be doing today a lot of character creation and world building and things like that. If, as some people are when they watch AP videos, you do not dig character creation stuff, you may want to skip forward a ways and check out. Hopefully, we're going to get to some scenes on the table today, but our characters have 2 playbooks, plus they have a world to build. So there's some crazy stuff going on. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. If you're curious about what this online gaming community is, you can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have a Patreon that supports our gaming community. You can find that at Patreon Gauntlet. You can find it. You'll look for it. We also have a blog, and we have a zine, and we have a podcast, and all of that is connected up to that Patreon. So it's pretty awesome. Now, this is, as an Gauntlet game, it is a game where we use safety tools. We're going to be talking about line and veils here in a minute, things we don't want to have on the table. We're going to be talking about tone, that discussion. But as well, and I know everyone here is a Gauntlet veteran, the basic safety tool that I use is the X card. And you can do that in the role for your party. There's an X card tool there. You can do it visibly. You can do it in a chat. If you X card something, I may have to ask you where we're going to cut. If so, we're going to move past it, but I may try to get a frame for that. The other thing is I want to mention something that Rich Rogers pointed out to me. If the first time something happens, you don't X card it, but it pops up later repeatedly, and you start like, okay, now I'm not down with it. It's still fair to X card it. It's still fair to come back and do that. There's no judgment on it if something begins to bother you that you let pass. Typically what I do is with games like this, after a couple of sessions, we'll do a debrief at the end of, say, session 2 or 3, depending on how play goes, and then we'll do a debrief at the end of session 5 to talk about the higher level game things. And I'll talk about the structure of play here in a little bit, but I want to begin with this. So this is a post-apocalyptic game, which has a lot of baggage to it. Now it's more fantastical, say, than the sort of gritty realism of Apocalypse World. But it still means that we're dealing with our choice about what society looks like, what things we want to have as a detail or don't want to have as a detail. So I want to talk about tone in general. I think let's start with the lines and veils, and then maybe we can talk about are we more dark and gritty, or are we more Numenera, or what does that look like? So I will start with the lines and veils, and I'm going to put I'm going to start myself with that. And my thing is I'm going to take torture off the table as something that is effective, because it isn't in the real world, and I just don't want to see it. We'll cut away from anything like that, but I do want to remove that as a thing we have to have or have to see on the table. Darren, anything that is in your, like, when you play post-apocalyptic, here are some things not into.
Torture is always where I start. So that's taken care of. And then post-apocalyptic, I think like cannibalism. I don't want to say cannibalism. All my post-apocalyptic touchstones are like video games, and those are like very strange with how they deal with it because it's very gamified, right? So it's
okay.
I don't know. I feel like all of my like tone things are going to be like, I don't want to see any of this.
Okay. That's fair. Cannibalism is fair to take off the table. Ari?
Usually I put up no sexual violence or violence against children.
Okay.
Those seem pretty obvious.
Walter, anything you want to add?
No, mine have might have been covered.
Okay. And Patrick, I'm going to swing back to you.
So normally I have a line against like violence to animals. This is a more unique setting and has some playbooks that deal with uplifted animals, so I maybe want to nuance that more.
Okay.
I'm not into like graphic on-screen violence to animal type things, and if there are animal type things that in the storyline we are meant to be violent against, the more obviously monstrous and non-animal-y they look, the better I am with it.
Okay. Good. That's kind of a veil. I like that. Okay. And I'll put a circle around that. Anything else anybody wants to put on that? I'll open it up now generally. Okay. Let me ask you, does anyone have a strong feeling like, I would like this to be more fantastical, I would like this to be less fantastical, I would like this to be more gritty, I would like this to be less gritty? Anybody have a particular direction of pull that you feel very strongly about? We can discuss that now, or we can see how it rolls out in character creation. I just want to check in with people about that.
I guess less about tone, more about setting. One of the things I like about Legacy over, say, Apocalypse World is the ability to go into the, like, weird apocalypse and the strange things out there. So I'm totally into that end of it, whether it's, like, weird technology gone mad, or an alien artifact that fell and changed everything, or like magical energies that return to the world. Whatever it is, like I like the world and the nature of the apocalypse to be as like strange and over the top as possible.
Okay. So definitely away from sort of the grounded Fallout realism, and we're leaning more towards the weird stuff that the game embraces. Okay.
It's definitely my impulse. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have strong feelings either way?
I prefer like a little bit less grit because I don't want this like apocalypse or post-apocalypse where like there are these like few struggling settlements and then just like rampant raiders who are like killing and fighting everybody and somehow doing fine.
And that's actually a good thing. That tells me how we want to have, say, the opposition, that the threats that are at the margins. Okay, that's a good thing. Let me talk, with that in mind, a little bit about the play cycle. Just because I want to put this in your mind before you go to make up characters. Now, I ran this in the first edition, and I ran this last year from the quick start. One of the important things to remember is that you have a character and you have a family. Your family is going to go across the sessions. Your character may change. But the other thing to think about is that you are in charge of the decisions that your family makes. And you can have your character be the person who's doing that, or you can kind of meta level it that my character is there, but here's the decisions that the family makes. I often think it's easier if you have your character be in a position of authority one way or another, or manipulating or something like that. And you think about how they might be, helping to shape the decisions of the family. This is a game that has a Zoom, which means that we might start out at the family level. We check in with what the families are doing, and then we might zoom in to the character level, and that may be one or two of the characters. Sometimes, if we think that's going to be like an extended thing with that one character, the other players can make up quick characters, essentially companions to be with them. Then when we zoom out, if we've done like a couple of scenes there, like substantive, when we zoom out, anybody whose main character wasn't involved with that get some choices, get some benefits, so that even if your main character isn't on screen, your character's going to have done something, going to get a Benny, something like that. And we'll try and be explicit about when we do that zoom up, zoom down. I'll try and see how we get the characters together or not. We're going to see how this plays out over these sessions. It does mean that feel free to say, okay, where are we at? What level are we working at right now? What are we doing? Because it's something that actually takes me some getting used to as a GM to go through that. Other thing is PBTA often has roll and all this stuff happens. Like we roll our action and like a lot of stuff happens. This is very much that. When you go to fight, we roll and we see how the fight ends up. It's not blow, but it's even broader than that. So just keep that in mind when we go to moves. Those moves are going to decide big issues often, especially on the family level. And then I'll ask you for the fiction, the narrative that goes with that. All right. So what we've got now is we've got the important decision that everybody's going to have to make about their family playbook. And we're going to go through, we're going to do the family stuff first. And we're going to pick our playbooks and we're going to work through the steps of that. And then that's going to lead us to some things about the map and about adding things to the map. And I have a Google image, and it will look cool, but also terrible at the end because drawing online is not fun sometimes. But we will get that set. So let's see. We've got a bunch of different families to choose from. Darren, do you have a sense of what you would like to do family-wise? I mean, you can even say, here are the couple of ones that we want to do, or do you have a question about those families?
No questions. The problem is that they're like all interesting. I think the one I'm not interested in is the Cultivators.
Okay.
So that barely narrows that down. But I don't know. I'm feeling like Lawgivers is kind of interesting. The Titan, the Order of Titans is interesting. The Pioneers of the Deep is interesting. And then maybe the Uplifted, the children, the Uplifted one. I think those are the four that I'm going to say.
Right.
Lawgivers, Titans, Pioneers, and Uplifted.
And you've given us four things. So if anybody takes any of those, you'll be happy because it will narrow your choices.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Ari, do I say it Ari or Ari?
Ari.
Ari.
Yeah, Ari's okay too, though, if you like that.
Do you have a sense of maybe the family or families that you're looking at?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in the Enclave of Bygone Lore.
Okay.
And neck and neck, not quite neck and neck, but just behind the Gilded Company of Merchants.
Okay.
Those are the two. But yeah, between the two, unless somebody's really in love with the Enclave, I'd like to take that one. But if not, then I go with the Merchant.
I'm going to circle that right now. Walter.
Okay. So let's see. I've done my best to go through all these, but I feel like I'm looking at them and I'm like, wait a minute, do I remember all this? There's so many, and so many details for all of them. I remember the Merchants appealed to me, and I thought the what is it, Pioneers of the Deep seemed intriguing. Although that seems like that says a lot about the setting too, and it would have to be something I think everybody would want to like maybe lean into that or something. But that just seemed like an interesting concept. Would it be too much to ask if you or someone who's more familiar with the game kind of like give a brief summary of each of the playbooks? Like, I mean, I can kind of like see them, but sometimes from all the like just the detailed moves, like the overall gist gets lost.
Let me talk about the ones that I have seen in play.
Okay.
I did take out there was a one that's very much a violence takeover playbook that I've seen a couple times in play that I actually removed because it feels much more like an NPC thing. I tried to focus on ones that are builders. The Enclave is interesting. It definitely leans into the tech, and having knowledge, and going out and finding stuff, and even having maybe a little more access, like sitting on a wonder or something like that, or having some resources from that. And I've seen people use that as a means of talking about what the tech is in the world. Gilded Company Merchants is very much about moving around, trading, interacting with the other factions, and I've seen that done as a nomad. The Lawgivers are interesting, but they are a little monotone. Like if you're going to do the Lawgivers, they're very much about enforcing the law and hunting things down, stuff like that. You better be willing to deal with that. And then the Servants of the One True Faith looks maybe like really fanatical, but depending on your choices, you can moderate that. When Sherry did it in the last game, she did it very much as a beneficent religious order. So that was interesting. The other ones I haven't seen. Uplifted Children of Humanity obviously says something about the fall. And as you say, the Pioneers definitely say, okay, we're going to have water here. It's like if you've played Alpha Centauri and you get the expansion and it adds that water guy who steals all your resources and it changes the whole game of the play. It definitely does shift things. And then the other ones, Order of Titan and Cultivators, I haven't seen. And I'll admit I'm curious. So there we go. But you mentioned Merchants and Pioneers.
So, yeah, and then I guess the the thing is, I know I like read through like moves and stuff and was like, oh, that looks cool, and then I forget like which family book it goes with, because some of the moves get really specific. But sorry, I was I wish I'd like let's see yeah, now it's just like I look at these playbooks and I'm like, my God, they all look so weird. I guess the Enclave looks kind of interesting. I mean, they all look kind of interesting. It doesn't. Okay. I'm sure I'll have fun with any of them.
All right.
The Merchants is the one I definitely remember sounding interesting.
All right. So I've got sort of 3 written down for you. Patrick, are you going to come in and go, this is the one I want?
I was going to come in and be supremely unhelpful with like 4 or 5 choices, but this has actually helped narrow down some of that. I'm sort of sitting at the moment on the Cultivators of the New Flesh or the Order of the Titan. And if I'm going to be the definitive one, I have to say the contrarian in me, as soon as Darren said, like, I definitely don't want to play the Cultivators, I was like, I'll play the Cultivators. So I am more than happy to play the Cultivators and explore the weirdness of the biology of this world.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to each of you and you're going to have to pick in that same order that I just did. I'm going to come to Darren. Darren, you gave me 4 choices. Pick one of those 4.
Okay, I want to do not the Uplifted Children.
Okay.
I want to okay, I'm not going to do Lawgivers.
Okay, that leaves us Titan and Pioneers.
I know, do I want giant monsters? Or do I want the ocean? I want giant monsters. I'm going to do the Order of the Titan.
Okay, Titan it is. All right. Ari, is Enclave good for you? You still thinking that way?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, and let's go with that. And then Walter, given what you've heard about the other 2, what do you think?
Yeah. So Ari, you took Enclave of
Bygone Lore.
Okay. All right, then. I was. All right, I'm just kind of curious to see what happens with the Pioneers of the Deep. And now that we have the Titans, I feel like Godzilla's got to come out of the water, right?
Okay. Is everybody cool with that? All right.
How do you say no to Godzilla?
Exactly. Well, very difficult. Which brings us back to you, Patrick. Patrick, are you good with the Cultivators?
Yeah, I think suddenly we're really focusing in on the biology of this world, and I'm excited
Okay.
about that.
All right. So what I would like you to do is essentially start through.
Actually, you know what? I changed my mind already. If it's okay.
What?
Nobody pictured the uplifted children, right?
Right.
Okay, because I think the uplifted children have an option where they can have wings and fly.
Yeah.
That sounds hilarious. I'll do that.
Okay. Uplifted children. All right.
All right.
So go ahead and take a look at your playbooks. You'll see some of the choices. I'm going to let you work. Now, the summary page will automatically read from the tab where your character is. So we have a summary page so everybody can look and see what things. Don't edit stuff there. Go ahead and edit on your particular character tab. And you can rename that tab if you need to. If you want to have it on there, but you may want to wait until you have your character ready. But I'm going to let you go. I'm going to hide the columns we're not using to make it a little easier to work with. And if you have questions, go ahead and hit me up on those. Let's see here.
Just to review one more time, because I was partly looking at my my choices. What do we pick again? We have Titans, we have Enclave of Lore, and we have
Cultivators.
I'm sorry, Cultivators. Oh, okay, interesting. All right, all right. So Cultivators and Uplifted Children might be an interesting combo then.
Yes. Okay. And essentially what we'll have you do is there's stats, doctrine, lifestyle, and traditions. Those are all things that you're going to pick. And I'll have you go through up till that point and also pick your moves. And then we will talk a little bit about the landmark and the history questions.
What do you want us to go up to again?
Go through stats, doctrine, lifestyle, traditions, and pick your moves. And then we'll do landmarks and history.
Cool.
And there's together once we've introduced, and then we'll do a little bit of stuff. Also, I do want to tell you the way I usually play with things like this is if we get, I'll check in at the beginning of the session, and if you're like, I took this move and this move sucks, I will let you change it out because I want you to have a chance to play with the system. Don't feel like your move choices are going to absolutely lock you in.
All right, a council of dead channeled for guidance and an AI interpreting signs from beyond are both very good options. I don't know what to pick.
Yeah, there's some really tough choices of
Those
really
are
awesome
both
stuff.
pretty amazing.
Yeah. We're gonna have that weird alien post-apocalypse.
Yes.
Oh man.
Lowell, you want us to pick moves as well? I'm sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, go ahead and pick your moves. Oh, and when you put your moves in, do you see where it says move 1 or move 2? Put the name of the move there, because that's what's going to get read over on the summary sheet. Oh, and I guess I should mention this. One of the moves you'll see for all of the families is take an inheritance move. There are a set of those. Those are generally like kind of niche moves that when you make up a quick character they can pick from, but you have access to them. If any of those look interesting, you can take one of those. I'm going to give you all about 3-4 more minutes, and then I'm going to start sort of the introductions, leading questions segment of the program. Okay, so just a couple of other things to point to you to thoughts for the future is your mood is a stat you use when your family undergoes, struggle or trauma. We have to make a roll for that. And your mood is the number of surpluses you have minus the number of needs that you have. So most people are going to start at a -1 on mood for their family, just to tell you how that works. So what I want to do is have everybody introduce their family. We'll do this in that same order that we did. If you haven't, feel free to finish out things as we're going around and doing this. And once we have that in mind, we'll do the landmarks. We'll go through that process of putting things on the map. And then that will allow us to figure out, okay, maybe the treaty choices and things like that, because we'll know where people are relative to one another. And we'll go through that. So Darren, you had to bail on Thursday's game, so this is the payback for that.
All right, fair enough.
So tell us about your family, and what is your family's name?
Yeah, that's the last thing I had. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe they're just called like Bastion or something, something like very on the nose. I don't know, and I kind of like the literal sense of that. Like maybe when people come into this family, they just take this name, so it probably even sounds a little weird as not being like a normal surname.
Okay,
that's what I'm going with.
So tell us about the choices that you made there, and what that tells us about this, or if you want to start in the Order of the Titan. We've got these monsters. What are these monsters like? Are they Godzilla?
Yeah.
Are they something else?
Yeah, well, let's all talk about it. The Kaiju Threat Alert move pitches it to the table, and it asks what form they take. Are they organic, robotic, elemental, or ephemeral? I was thinking ephemeral is very scary, and an elemental might be like really cool, but kind of limiting. What do other people think about the behemoths?
Anyone have a strong feeling about what you'd like these kaiju threats to look like?
So robotic would be like AI mechs or something, or like mechs controlled by some other group, maybe.
Yeah, it could be something like that. Massive nano machine swarms.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing there, because we do have two people that work with biology. There's an interesting contrast there. On the other hand, the biological one maybe represents, this gone to an extreme. Either one of those sound like they comment on the other situation.
I guess we have a blending. Maybe these are like organic, mechanical monstrosities somehow.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's sort of like nanotech you were mentioning could be like very technologically based, but aesthetically comes off in all sorts of weird or organic looking ways.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe a way like this, like a nanomachine swarm that like consumes organic material and like reprocesses it into whatever. A ginormous raging bull that can like hack into your car.
Okay.
Not that. It'll be more serious than that. But I like this idea. Organic robotic blends.
Okay. Yeah. At heart, there's a technological basis to these things, but they're using organics to power themselves, to fuel, to shape themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's walk through those picks that you made and what that tells us about the world.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the stat array I chose, the prompt was if humanity carved out a niche in the behemoth's alien ecosystem. So somehow there's been a massive change in what we're living and where we're living from whatever these things have done.
Oh. So these monsters change the world, and everyone survived because they've adapted to fit in with their ecosystem.
Yeah, I'm going with that nanomachine idea. Yeah, maybe there's like a destructive consumption. Maybe a lot of like artificial stuff had to be made now. There was probably a lot of like wreckage and like refuse left behind by these like strange machines, as they're maybe always changing and trying to find new sources, something like that.
Awesome.
That was weird. And then my doctrine, we are Armageddon gods, so we can get psychic connections to the monster. Fantastic, very weird. And we live dispersed among other societies, I guess. In our traditions, these are the good ones. Our populace is made up of hired hunters and indentured servants. We wear flowing robes of adaptive camouflage, and we're governed by a council of the dead, channeled for guidance.
So lots of psychic stuff there.
Yeah.
Do you imagine that disperse means that there are pockets of you in other settlements, or is it that rather than having like one big settlement, you've got a number of smaller settlements around?
I was thinking of it as like we have communities and other settlements.
Okay. And what did you pick for your moves?
Oh yeah, so Kaiju Threat Alert is the given. So that just brings kaijus into the world. And then I took Doomsday Research. So when I issue a Kaiju Threat Alert, I get 6 hold, and I can get advantage, or I can get my character out of some bad shit.
Okay. And advantage is a mechanic in this game. You probably played PBTA games with this. It just means that you get an extra die when you roll with advantage and take the 2 highest, disadvantages 2 lowest. Okay.
Do you want the how are you defended, how are you traveled, all that stuff?
Yeah, if you have a sense of what that is, that's what you pick for that. You get you get a benefit. What is the benefit you get for that? That's like written right above that on the playbook.
A benefit. Oh, your character can always have a trophy from a previous hunt.
Okay. Yeah, and essentially that's a benefit when you go to like tool up and load your character's loadout for going on a mission. You always get that thing.
Interesting.
So tell us about the 3 that you picked for the fight, defend, travel, or expertise.
Yeah, I took those 3, and we have bright halos. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm going to picture literal halos that somehow have this technology that, I don't know, makes a field or something. You have these haloed people fighting giant monstrosities.
Okay.
We travel on tamed beasts. It has the tags air and mount, so I imagine they fly in some way.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe it's probably something I bought from the Cultivators, right? Or we may have commissioned specifically to get some unique mounts. And then our expertise is soldiers. I have a lot of stuff with like transport and scouting, so I took soldiers.
Excellent. I think that makes perfect sense for your characters. So do you imagine that these halos are like something adapted from the nanotech? Are they a sidekick construct? What do you think?
Yeah, that's interesting. Probably. I like that a lot. I think probably a lot of our tech came from like salvaging the first behemoths, and probably even like Patrick, if you're cool with me, like commissioning the cultivators for flying mounts. Probably even that, like designs from that came from like, oh, the behemoth did this thing. It looked like this. We need these sorts of characteristics. So, yeah.
And when you say halo, is it like the full circle around the head, halo like this, or is it like a halo like behind, like Warhammer style?
No, a circle around the head.
Okay,
classic.
all right.
But like also big. I want it to be like body sized.
So it's a huge halo.
Yes.
Does it always show up?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think it's like standard outfit. Like you get your halo and you mount up and you go and fight.
Is it one color?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I was picturing them as golden, but
Okay.
yeah, no, I like that. Just one color. They're
All
just
right.
golden.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to come back to you after we're done, and we're going to talk about the landmarks when we go to that section of things. Ari, tell us about the Enclave.
Yeah, so this is the Enclave of Bygone Lore.
Okay.
I went with Starg for the family name. And the doctrine is holding back another fall. When a piece of dangerous technology is brought back to the family, they can break it down to 2 tech.
Ooh.
So the first thing that comes to mind is we deal with volatile and dangerous things from the past, and we must have certainly the equipment and technical expertise to be able to handle such things.
Excellent. And what did you choose for your stat pick? What does that say?
Which one did I pick? I just wrote down the effects. Let me see. Oh, I took style. Wait, is that right? No. Back up. So I ended up with 1 minus 1, 1. So what is that one? Yeah, so if the fall unleashed previously unknown technology and knowledge which you now seek out.
Ah.
Yeah, so things were unearthed after the fall that, or are able to be read by our devices that we know how to get to them through shifts in the geology, perhaps.
Do you think that refers to the tech that powers the behemoths, or is it something even further back from before that?
Let's go with stuff further back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, even older.
All right.
Got a
Tell
lot
us.
of behemoth stuff going on already.
Yeah. Behemoths shape the world. Tell us about lifestyle.
Yeah, so lifestyle disperse. So we've got a diaspora. So we've got airships, which is kind of later on my character pick. So that makes sense that we would travel, by flight to get messages or relay things or visits.
Awesome. And what'd you take for your tradition picks?
Tradition, I took style. Bulky and concealing environmental suit, utilitarian clothes studded with implants, monastic robes embroidered with circuitry.
Okay. Well, actually, you're going to pick one from populace, one from style, and one from governance.
Oh,
yeah, I'm sorry.
I messed this up.
It's a little unclear in the descriptor there.
Okay, I see. So should I go ahead and do that right now, or do you want to come back to it?
What do you think from those lists?
So one from each. All right, so let's go with close-knit families, passing traditions, passing secrets to their children. Utilitarian clothes studded with implants.
Okay.
Hiding in plain sight. And let's go with hidebound council of elders for governance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make these notes. I'll write them in a moment.
And hidebound council, and your council is alive as opposed to Darren's council, right?
I'm sorry to hear that, Darren.
So
fine.
What did you take for your moves?
I took deep knowledge. Family has well curated and extensive store of records on certain fields. I took the horrors birthed by the fall.
Excellent. And the other move?
The other move is weird science. When your family puts together a device powerful enough to shape the local area for generations, say what they want it to do.
Awesome. It's going to be environmentally shifting throughout here. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to come back to you on landmarks in a little bit. Okay.
All right.
Walter, tell us about the Uplifted Children of Mankind.
There we go. Yes. So the Uplifted Children of Mankind are the Vayu is our name. and we are a menagerie of avian humanoids that have been created long ago, and we have found our let's see. So we are well adapted to this environment in the following whatever happened in the apocalypse. So this is a very natural habitat for us now in the world that we have remaining. We are scavengers, so we are omnivorous, and we get advantage infiltrating and scavenging for resources. We are air-based, winged phenotype. For traditions, I took a menagerie bound by phenotypic similarity. So we all look very different, like a variety of different sort of bird species that have all been kind of made into these like humanoid, beings with wings. Some of us have claws, but some of us have hands and feet. Let's see. We wear bold dyes and have scarification. Our governance is a loud anarchic democracy.
Let me ask you a couple questions. For the air-based, do you imagine that your people live, you know, high in the mountains, or do you imagine that there are some floating things that you live on? What do you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're pretty adaptable, but yeah, we definitely are able to find safe places, like, you know, areas up in the mountains is a common place, or we can, you know, if there's areas that have trees remaining, we can get there. You know, our mobility is definitely key to our safety and tracking down resources.
You have the wings. Are you feathered?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have feathered wings, but we're not necessarily feathered all over. I'm imagining we're, you know, we have I think we would look very much like kind of fantasy creatures, you know, like humanoid bodies, but with wings growing out the back, and different variations of humanoid to human / you know, bird-like heads. So you know, some of us have, like, you know, I think feathers instead of hair, but we might have relatively humanoid features in our faces, although some of us may have very vicious looking beaks as well.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask about the location. So classical wings at the back, different colors. Okay. Yeah, and what did you take for moves?
For moves, I took You Are Weak, which when my family takes over a settlement, they get various choices, such as the neighbors have to run away, taking any need of our choice. We can gain one of their surpluses, or by merely holding back on our violence, we can get 2 treaty on another settlement's leaders. The other one I took is Are We Not Men? Which is when my family aids or protects another family without asking for anything for return, we gain advantage and can gain some surpluses.
Awesome. Do you imagine that are they kind of raiders? Do they take over often high located settlements, or?
So I'm imagining something along the lines of they were, you know, they were originally created to serve various purposes, and were, you know, like you know, workers essentially. And after the apocalypse, whatever happened, we you know, we gained our freedom and realized, oh, we're the best adapted to this environment now. And now we are, you know, there's like contentious factions within the family, but the one that seems to be dominating now is that we are like the noble inheritors of this land, and you know, we must do what we can to help out our less fortunate former creators.
All right, I like the superiority complex. That's good. Good place to start there. Excellent. I'll come back to you on landmarks then. Patrick, tell me about the cultivators of the new flesh.
So I went with the Primogen for their name.
Oh, nice.
Let's see, for their stats, I've been shifting things as other people have talked, but where we are now is if the fall completely supplanted the original ecosystem with new and alien forms of life, which sounds like where we are. So that gives me a reach -1, but a grasp and sleight of 1.
Okay.
Let's see. Doctrine, sculpting a new humanity. I love this one. When your family creates or tames a new species, they inherit one of its minor or cosmetic traits.
Nice.
And then our lifestyle is settled. Your family's farms and facilities are extensive and can work on the creation of multiple new surpluses simultaneously. So I imagine them having this like sort of very, very cultivated, fertile land, like a large area of land that's under their control, and things inside of it are less chaotic than the world outside, but in places more strange as they get like really deep into their experiments.
Excellent. And so you're one of the few that we've said had shown, have settlements. So probably some of the settlements that are going to be on the map are probably dominated by you. Others are kind of there. Okay. Okay.
For the traditions, I mixed and matched a little bit with stuff, but populace, I went with a co-op of carefully managed bloodlines, and governance is a pantheon taking on nature's aspects. So I think it's it's a very free governance in that these like subfamilies, these genetic lines are sort of self-contained and free to do what they want. And as each of these like groups follows their own ideal or path of how should we evolve, how should we change to adapt to this world, they tend to create like a leader at the top of each of the subfamilies that is like the prime physical example of all the traits they're trying to express into the world.
Okay. Well, I like that very much.
And then what was the middle one? Style. So with the wild and unrestrained for style, it's less about like their personality is all wild, and it's more that they are like they're all free to follow whatever form of weird experimentation and self-modification they want to do. There's a wild variation of genetics and biology within them, and there's no sort of like there's no moral overriding ideas, there's no like ethics council or anything like that. It's if you can survive it, you can do it.
Awesome. And your moves?
Let's see, my moves. I get culture, which is I can start cultivating a new product with either progress land or barter goods. It takes a few months, and at that point I get that surplus that I put in back along with some extra benefits. I get to start the game with that as well. So one of my surpluses was land. So for the land one, just as an example, I invest that and I'll get surplus crops and slow but steady population. If I hold on to that surplus crops for this whole age, I'll get surplus recruits at the end.
Excellent.
And then domestication. Just because this sounds fun, let's go out into the wilds and find new things and bring them home. When an abnormal life form is brought back to your family's farm and reshaped to your needs, I can choose to archive its traits, put them in things that I make in the future or in drugs. I could corral a small breeding population of them, or I could find a way to resist or avoid its dangers in the future.
Nice. All right. That gives me a good sense of what that looks like. So I would like to go to the map I want to do the map now. Actually, we're at about 10 after. So let's take our break here. And then we'll come back and do the map process, just to have a nice break for that. When we come back, we'll work on that together. So let's take 5. Who do you have in your SCUP game, Darren?
Sorry, I was on another tab. I have, who is it? It's Fraser, Ben Swindon, Sarah Jacobson, and Clint Finley. That's the last name.
Okay. Oh, Fraser in a SCUP game.
It's gonna get torn apart. He's playing the beloved, unwittingly the head of a cult.
That's great.
No, he's doing well. I think he had a rough role, as is his wont, in World War Party, and some of his associates were arrested. And then luckily Sarah's Black Hood offered him the opportunity of a lifetime, so he's already in the thick of being manipulated.
Oh. Yeah, Roll for Your Party does not like Fraser.
No, it doesn't. That's why he loves Symbrome, because it's a roll under mechanic. So anytime we play that in Roll20, he's like, wow, this is great. I've never succeeded so much.
I will say in the last session of Forbidden Lands, he finally was he was rolling like a monster. It was crazy.
I passed on all my good Roll for Your Party luck.
He drank a potion, and that gave an epic strength die. And so it became this little goblin butcher throughout the session, which is great.
Oh, man. It's turned from being a thief to a butcher.
I'm going to drop the link for the drawing here. There, in case you're not in that.
Oh, and Lowell, just briefly, I forgot to do my benefit and questions.
Oh, yeah.
But my benefit is my characters can always have a friendly pet of some kind, which is awesome. And then the pick 3 of those. How do you fight? Soporific needles and darts. It's a lot of capture and sedate sort of stuff.
Okay.
How do you travel? Pedigree animals. I imagine it's the kind is specific to each subline.
Okay.
And then what's your useful expertise? We have such good surgeons, so many surgeons.
Oh, okay.
Healing and dissecting.
That could be useful. So we're going to go into this map of the land. And on your character playbook, you're going to have 3 landmarks. And I'm going to have... We're going to go through, we'll do all the befores one by one, and then the fall, and then the threat from each of those. And then I'm also going to, sort of in the last round, I'm going to have everybody put a settlement on the map, so we know some places that are there that we can give some names to. So we're going to go same order. Darren.
Yes.
Yeah, that was coming. You've got some choices from before. What is a thing you want to put? Look at this big, bold, blank map.
I'm gonna put some rune defenses as huge as they were feudal.
Okay.
And this is definitely just gonna be, I think, a massive wall. Maybe there was, let's keep the behemoths emerge from the water.
Okay.
And I want to, maybe there's a massive bay or something, or some ocean line, and I just want to make a huge wall.
Okay, and just go ahead and draw that wall, however far it goes.
Which I'm gonna make it the bottom right corner is the water. Oh, ooh, this is fun. Okay, wait, no, no, that's a little too much. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. And do you want to? What do you want to call it?
Yeah, I should name it. Hope's Edge. That's what it's going to be called.
Nice.
Oh. All right, come on, give me a text box. Okay. Oh. Okay.
And we're saying that there's water on the far side there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, who knows anymore? I don't know if anyone's been past the wall since the Bahamas. Maybe there's no
Okay.
more water.
We don't know what's past that. So that's kind of to that far bottom corner is an area unexplored. We don't know what's down there. Okay. All right. So Ari, let's have you pick your before item.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a secret research center full of untamed wonders.
Okay. Where do you want to put that?
Let's put that. Let's put that in the top left.
Okay.
Should I just go ahead and draw?
Yeah, you can draw the little shape thing if you want to make it like a little geometric shape.
All right.
I usually do, so I don't look so terrible when I freehand it.
Oh, that's not what I want. How do I get this to draw a 1 second. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that is not what I want either.
If you hold over the shapes thing on the drop down, you see they have a bunch of different shapes that you can then choose from to draw with. You draw with a smiley face.
I'll just leave this blue box for now.
Fair enough. And what is it called? What's the name of it?
Let's see. What's a good name? Everyone can chime in on this. I'm kind of secret research center. Help me out, folks.
Do you want it like a descriptor name?
Yeah.
So this was.
Oh, go ahead. Please, no.
I just wanted to clarify. So this is like where like technology had been developed, is what you're thinking?
Yeah. Untamed wonders.
Yeah. So there's some sort of lost, secret base that's sort of legendary. So the lost something, or the vanished something, or the forgotten something.
Prometheus.
Prometheus. Oh, that's good. I like that.
Prometheus site.
The Promethean site? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Promethean site, something like that.
Like complex or compound, maybe.
I like that, actually. The compound. Nice and simple.
Okay, the compound. Excellent. Walter, what is your before pick?
My before pick is a research facility haunted by failed experiments. And these are like other uplifted kind of experiments, like new species experiments that went wrong. And there's my people, the Vayu, call it the Twisted Mother. But Patrick, I'm wondering what your people call it. Maybe you had another name for it.
What is it again?
It's a research facility haunted by failed experiments from before the fall. Failed biological experiments mostly, but maybe other things too.
Not sure. Like some sort of like archive or some sort of name that implies that we don't see it as dangerous, but like a resource to be plumbed, sort of thing.
So yeah, like maybe my people call it the Twisted Mother, and your people call it like the Mother Archive or something.
Oh,
nice. Ooh, I like that.
So this is another lost place. Go ahead and put that. Do you imagine then the uplifted are they different like species? Are they not avian but mammal or reptilian or insect?
I'm imagining all kinds of species, and many of them are not totally viable. There's maybe like still some like weird mutagenic factor going on there, so like very strange species just kind of emerge from there all the time.
Okay, where do you want to put that?
I'm going to drop it on the map now. Let's see.
Darren's determined to have a consistent font.
Huh? Ah, nice. Well, that can work. I'm going to put it not too far from the existing compound.
Okay.
Maybe there's a research triangle in that general area.
Excellent. Which brings us to you, Patrick. Tell me what your before pick is.
So we seem to have a lot of experiments gone wrong, sort of thing. So I like ruins filled with deadly spores. Imagining some sort of like a fungus plague, like something that could creep or move or expand, sort of thing.
Absolutely, I am all in favor of deadly spores. Where do you want to have this deadly spore ground?
And what did we say the water's on the other side of the wall here?
We
Hope's
think
Edge?
that that wall is so huge, people haven't been over there in years. Although maybe the avians have flown up there, we don't know. But maybe there's water on the other side, we don't know.
So, okay. So, I think there's like the ruins of a village or a city or something that was basically built like in the shadow of the wall, like up onto the wall and into it, sort of thing. That this was obviously like some sort of like trading merchant sort of city that was here at this dividing line. And it's like maybe these spores are everywhere, maybe they're just local, but in our corner of the world, like that's where the infection is sitting.
Awesome. Let you attach that to the wall.
Yeah, let me find a good shape.
Made the wall a little bit.
Made it a little more intimidating.
Yes.
Very
wonderful.
adorably colored cloud. There we go.
Okay. Now it's less.
It's a good noxious color.
Yes.
What
do you want to call that?
I think let's see. I like something like sort of silly sounding that belies the like horrible, like Shroom Town or something like that.
Okay. I like that. Like maybe once upon a time it was a place where people could gather mushrooms, but it's gone darker.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on their accents, it might pronounce Shrimpton, that kind of thing. All right. Let's come back to you then, Darren. What is the pick for the fall?
Yeah, I'm going to do the broken shell of a mighty capital laid low by the first behemoth attack.
Ooh.
Let's see this shape. I'm going to put it the mighty capital. I'm just going to put it right in the middle.
Okay.
Yellow. What's its name? I'm just gonna call it the Blast. Maybe people don't remember what its name, what the city's name was. But
All right.
now they just refer to it as the Blast.
Is it called the blast because there's a crater or evidence of destruction? What do you think it's called that?
Yeah, I like that. Maybe there was a crater and then like fallout from the impact, kind of like leveled some surrounding area, ruined the rest of the city.
Okay. I like that, like a Tunguska incident kind of thing with buildings. All right. Ari, let's come to you for your fall.
All right. Yeah, so I'm going to go with a redoubt where miraculous science from before almost averted the fall.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go with the name. I preloaded the name. I'm ready to go. Sorrow Dome is what I'm going to call this one. And so I suppose, looking to see where we can drop this. Guess we'll put it over. There's nothing down over here yet, so I'll drop it down below.
Okay.
I'll just copy paste for now. I'll draw it while you go to the next person.
So Sorrow Dome. So it's a place that might have had some research to stop the fall, which we know is the behemoths, the nano things. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and put that in that corner there then. And obviously, of course, this map is not to scale, so don't worry about that. Distance is all relative there. Let's come back to you, Walter. What is your the fall pick?
So the fall pick is strange new habitats growing in the ruins.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna grow off of this blast area here where there was so that was where the capital used to be, right?
Yeah.
And then the kaiju came and destroyed it all. And all of the sewage systems and everything that was there, as well as some of the like strange plants that the wealthy people there had brought in to decorate their homes, just kind of took over, and it became this really strange, bizarre new ecosystem. And there's these giant trees and vines growing everywhere, and a lot of animals, and some natural, some new experiments have taken over. And there's so it's actually quite a lush area.
Okay.
As far as natural growth now.
So mark some bounds for it, and what do you want to call it?
The Reclaiming.
Nice. And do you imagine is it contained within the boundaries of the blast, or has it spilled out?
Yeah, it's also spilled out a bit, but
Okay.
it's like I think one of the distinctive features is that the walls and buildings and sewer system and everything like became like the scaffolding for it, right? And like, you know, maybe old skyscrapers that are now ruined and not very useful are like, these trellises, and there's these mighty vines growing up them and spinning around them. So it's actually become the foundation of this forest.
Nice. Yeah. So kind of sketch however far out you think that will go. And then I'll swing over to Patrick. Patrick, what is your fall?
So I like a tree that outlasted the city it was meant to nurture. Which I actually like the idea of, like, this enormous, like, city-sized, meant to be almost the structure of the city itself, sort of tree. Something that was designed, encoded, made, partially constructed, and I think it has a basic animating intelligence, and it has a need to be a city, to be a home, to be a protector of things.
Okay.
And I think in, like, the abandoned wasteland, it has at some point sort of gone a bit insane from, not having the things that it's supposed to be taking care of, the things it's supposed to be doing.
Awesome. Where do you want to put this this tree?
Oh wow, the reclaiming forest looks cool. If we don't have anything up in the upper right here.
Okay.
Ooh, I like your symbols. Let me figure out how to do that.
Name, I'm going to go with Drazzle.
Like shortened for Yggdrasil? Nice.
Nope, not at all. It's something totally unique and creative that I came up with. Yeah, it's totally that.
Awesome. Darren, let's come back to you, and you're going to put a threat on the map.
Yeah.
Are the choices delicious or terrible?
No, they're delicious. It said something about the behemoths. I'm like, for some reason, I was picturing these behemoths and kaiju's as like appearing, but the threats really make it seem like they're just present. So I'm just recentering.
Well, and don't forget that you can invent your own. So if you want to say that there is, a particular behemoth that is arrived and particularly dangerous in this age and maybe has a hunting ground or a spot, you could certainly do that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to marry it because I like one of the suggestions. I was thinking how to make it work. I'm going to do that with a tall rune, now a monster's airy. So yeah, I don't know what's there. Maybe it's just as commonly taken up by big baddies, or maybe there's one big one who like is just present in this world and for some reason not like doing anything.
Okay, like particularly resistant or particularly damaging.
Yeah. Maybe it's almost like folkloric too. Like people maybe don't even know necessarily. I'm gonna put it right in the middle of the compound.
Okay.
The meta archive.
Oh, so it's partially because it's in an area isolated, where the secrets are. Then and eventually we'll figure out why people don't just march up there. This may be why.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's some sort of behemoth breeding ground or something.
Oh, that sounds great. What am I gonna call it?
I think that whole region now can be like the research triangle or something, like where the
So we're in Massachusetts.
We have described Boston. Yeah, I want to give this. I maybe there's like a big sign or something on this rune. I want it to be like an old corporate, yeah, like a research tower or something. It's a good corporate name.
Okay.
We're gonna name it.
I have a player, Scott, who's legendary for being unable to come up with names when I call him on the fly. And there's a thing where he spent 30 minutes when I asked him what his dog's name was. And eventually he was like, Shadow.
Oh man.
People broke down at that point because it literally had been 30 minutes of him hemming and hawing.
Oh, I just can't think of any like bad corporate like pun names. I'm just gonna say like Biologica or something. I hate it.
Is it? Would anybody be offended if it was like Monsanto?
Well, let's say Monsanto just in case they're watching.
Yes. Is it just called Monsanto, or is it the Monsanto area, or is it the Monsanto Tower, or what do you imagine? Is there a secondary name to that?
No, I think that's like maybe the only thing discernible left of the rune. Like I don't think you could tell anymore that it's like it used to be this corporate research place, but there's this sign that is like you can still read the writing and it's like barely weathered even maybe. Monsanto.
Do you think that the fact of this dangerous behemoth breeding ground, is that what keeps people from going normally to the archive and the compound, or is there a geographical thing that keeps people back?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Maybe think about that. I'm going to come back to you after the once around of this, and I'm going to ask you to give us an answer on that. Ari, what about you for a threat?
A ruin where creations of science now rule.
Okay.
I'm going to call it Cultivar. Guess we'll put it over here.
What kind of creations of science are they?
Mechanical, more biological? What do you think?
We haven't had much mechanical, have we? Let's go with mechanical. Yeah, let's play with that a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, let me put that down. I'm gonna pick one of these crazy shapes that Patrick got me into. How about this here? We'll put it down by the coast.
Okay.
Kind of over here. Yeah, that's good.
So we've got this sort of mechanical. Maybe we have this. Maybe there are a dangerous faction that has arisen out of these ruins of that are now beginning to threaten other settlements. That kind of thing.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, roaming around.
Cultivar. I thought you were going to put 2 R's. That'd be too super sci-fi.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go with that. Let's
Okay.
camp it up.
Awesome. So that brings us to Walter. What's your threat that's on the table?
Yeah, so they all look really fun, but I think the one that is gonna offer the most is carrion birds, smart enough to herd and harvest livestock. And this also kind of plays into like sort of just generally the way I've been starting to think about my birds is they're like a whole bunch of different bird like, you know, species or variety that have formed like an alliance is kind of what my family or faction represents. But I'm imagining there's actually like, you know, small bands or like, you know, solitary bird-like creatures all over the place. We're actually like, we're thriving so well, we're really common. So this is like, you know, like another like band or faction maybe that is formed that's different from mine.
I like that. Where do you want to?
And they're herding creatures.
Yeah. Mute.
Lowell, I changed the spelling of cultivar to a more appropriate Darren-inspired version.
I'm gonna put them between Saurodome and Cultivar. What is Saurodome again? I forget. I should remember.
Saurodome is a redoubt where the miraculous signs from before almost averted a fall.
Ah, okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll just leave them. I'll just put them right in the center. That seems like a good place. And they need a name, don't they? Let me see here. Let's see. I'm gonna come up with something clever.
That phone call was, of course, 2 of my players bailing out from tonight's game. Face to face.
Huh. All right. I'm gonna call them the Griffins.
Okay.
Actually, let's see. They're herding. I'm gonna call them. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Can I just to make it, since they're herding, and they're would it be cool for me to say that they're like nomadic and to say that they like move between 2 regions as they like move their herds around?
Sure. Maybe make a sort of a light line for their roaming area that they're operating in.
Yeah, they're like seasonal pastures. Okay.
And they're a threat. I mean, they're herding potentially whatever they can get a hold of.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm going to be curious how you're going to spell Griffin.
Okay. Well, then I'll just have to like not look it up. I was going to look up how does one spell Griffin. Let's do. There, how's that?
Yeah, I like that. Yesterday in the Jinkies game, our rival band was Glitter Punk, and they were Swedish, so I was like, no, that has to be an umlaut over the U in that, and it became Glitter Punk. And as Walter decides the roaming grounds of these nomads, what is going to be your threat, Patrick?
All right. I think I'm gonna go up north, and I'm gonna Make sort of a zone, sort of a rumor threat, a pack of perfectly designed predators.
Hmm.
So I think there's
They're
an
bears.
area. They're definitely bears. No, but there's an area up to the north. It's sort of like just a zone that people tell stories about. Like, don't go there because no one really comes out with good information or living. But I think the like going rumors are some form of like this nanotech life that's become like fully sentient, that has formed its own like hunting packs, or maybe it's a forest that eats people. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
just a place where rumors come out and people don't.
Okay, let's have you put that on there. Let me swing back to Walter while you put it on there. So these Griffin Nomads, as a new kind of threat that's arisen, have they gotten? Is it just that they've gotten stronger, or did they like migrate here recently from somewhere else?
Ah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, maybe a little bit of both. I
Okay.
think maybe actually like one of the things that I see myself doing is like I'm imagining my group as being like a loose confederation that's like been banding together. Like if we all band together, we're stronger. And maybe they're like a little bit of that. Maybe they're like a small group that migrated in and they're like competing to recruit like scavenger type birds to them.
Okay. I'm going to move that just a little bit over there. Okay, I like that. Getting some of your cast-offs and exiles and things, and the killing fields is the perfectly designed predators in this mysterious zone up north. Okay. I'm going to ask Darren a question, or have him answer a question that I asked before, and then I'm going to pop around on a last thing. Darren, tell me about what keeps people from going up to the Mother Archive and the compound stuff.
Yeah, I like this idea of that this area is maybe like this breeding ground for these behemoths. And I think maybe what the issue is, aside from just like territorial stuff with like youths, babies, behemoth babies, I think that
Like Muppet Babies, but worse.
I think that the behemoths, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the youngins have to like fight it out to survive, and then like that's when like a fully grown behemoth is this one who has like survived the trials of its peers and siblings. So it's just like a massively dangerous area because these behemoths are always constantly hunting one another.
All right, I like that. I'm going to put kind of a little sort of dashed border around this then to kind of represent the hunting ground. Is that okay? Because I just found out I can do dash borders, so I had to do it.
That's cool.
So, Patrick, I'm going to come back to you on this question. We know that your people are the ones that actually have settlements. So why don't you? We know we've got this threat up north with the killing fields. We've got this breeding grounds over here. The Cultivar, our faction that are rising up, and we've got these nomads that are starting to range across a wider territory. Why don't you mark on the map one of your settlements and give it a name?
So I made it, so obviously I like it. But I like the Drazzle, the big like insane sort of city tree. So I think we have a settlement that's like a few miles outside of it. We've been working for the last like generation or two since it was discovered and we sort of figured out what it was, to like build a relationship with it. Our ideal would be to move that settlement like into Drazzle itself, but it's been very like touchy negotiations, hard to build up a solid relationship with it.
Okay. So is the tree itself sentient?
Yes,
Or is there some sort of ecological system that the tree has, the defenders of it that you have to negotiate with?
I think it itself is sentient. I'm not
Okay.
sure how or to what degree of clarity it communicates.
Okay,
But
and that's
I think
the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it has its own self-motivating intelligence, though.
Give us a little dot on the map and give us a name for that settlement.
It's sapling.
That's a good name. It's a classic name.
Just got to find the perfect shape.
Yes, gotta find the perfect shape. And then Walter, I'm going to ask you. Let's mark one of these like places that is a common gathering spot, a mountain or a ruin, one of these elevated, airy spaces that your people often go to. If we had to like have a place where they met from time to time or something like that, what would that be?
Yeah, I think one of their places is in the Reclaiming Forest.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I mark that?
Yeah, mark that and give it a little name. Sapling. Nice. Ari, I'm going to come back to you. Your people are dispersed, right? They're in and amongst other settlements. I want you to put another settlement on the map that belongs to a faction we haven't seen yet.
Okay.
Valhalla, nice.
What's that?
Yeah, I should have put Valhalla in the Drasil, but you know, close enough.
Let's put it over here. We'll call it Corbel.
Okay.
A hell of a time doing something very simple. Picking a piece of text, copying and pasting it, and dropping it. Oh, okay, there we go.
The Google image thing is weirdly problematic at times.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to put that one kind of between the blast and Mother Archive.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find an appropriate
proper shape. Yeah. And we'll figure out later who exactly they are, but we know that there's another faction that's out there, and this is one of their places. And Darren, I'm going to ask the same question of you. Since you are also dispersed, I would like you to put another settlement on the map that belongs to a different faction that is somewhere.
Okay. I want to put it down by Sorrow's Dome.
Okay.
And who are these people?
Are you okay if I make Corbel? Oh, you're covering it in. You're still working on it.
Yeah. What were you going to do? Because I'm just
a little smaller. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'll make
you're
it.
on it. You know what you're doing.
Do I? Let me mute myself to prove I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, another faction, I think. I think this is gonna be like a new humanity or something.
Okay.
Something very like over the top. I think these people want to be like, they see this is gonna be the new capital. This is like the new center of the world.
Okay.
And this place is called
We've got a lot of sort of Nordic and Swedish cultivar, and Drazel and Valhalla. You could
True.
that.
We're gonna say it's it's Stockholm. No, I don't want to take. Oh, wait, but that's a good Heim. With Heim at the end for home. Why wish I knew the word for new. So I could just have a new home. Hold on, I'm gonna do a.
Oh, the classic new is NEU for fantasy, right?
True. I gotta get that Scandinavian. Yep. Something wild. Oh, it's Knit Home. Welcome to Knit Home.
Okay. We're gonna swap back, and we've got one last piece here to get the treaty. That decision made. There's some prompts and questions there, and we're going to get that figured out. Patrick, under history, what are your history things? What is it that gives you your treaty?
Let's see. So everyone has a need for your products. Take one treaty on each other family and faction.
Okay, so we'll just start with the PC ones, right, for the moment.
Then ask the other families, nothing. let me take a look at the PDF there real quick.
Oh, did I not? Oh, then the answer. The next two are the two questions.
Oh, I see. I'm
All
sorry.
right. I should have italicized the first part.
Okay, then which of you has made arrangements with us that might just end up saving mankind and the planet?
That doesn't sound like me at all. So that eliminates one of us.
Well, didn't you make flying creatures for someone?
Didn't I make them for Darren?
Yeah. I think
for that.
Yeah.
Put us in the sky.
Then sure.
So you'll have one on the other two and two on Darren.
That's interesting. So you made arrangements with us, and this is I guess the flying creatures are sort of the sign and symbol of it, but
Yeah.
something about this arrangement is going to save mankind or the planet, we think.
Well, he has to ride these things to fight the behemoths.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got the most capability to fight against these like weird mechanical monstrosities. I love it.
Yeah.
And then the other question: which of you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna take another treaty on you. And then which of you supplies us with resources vital for cultivation? And what those supplies are.
That could be me.
Okay.
That could be me.
Enclave certainly has lots of tech.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I probably get tech from that. Where's the place? Maybe from the compound. Oh, or from the Sorrow Dome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so then, Ari, you'll mark that you have one treaty on the Primogen, and the Primogen will mark that as well.
Okay.
Yep. All right. That's all my histories.
Okay, awesome. And just put the little numbers in, and you'll be all set. Let's come to Walter. Walter, what are the history questions that you have?
Yes, so my history questions are. Okay, which of you? Actually, I like the way you wrote them. I'm going to go to your thing here instead of the sheet I was looking at. So history. Which of you came to our rescue and helped us build a community? Oh wait, is that?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. I thought it looks different on the other sheet for some reason. Okay, no. Oh, okay, I see. I see. I was just reading out of work. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, which of you came to our rescue and helped us build a community? So I say how, and they say when.
So, anybody want to take that?
Who came to the Value's rescue and helped us build a community?
I mean, I could definitely do that.
Okay.
You are a very fascinating collective of like species and strange genetics. I totally would have liked to help you get by in the wasteland.
And how do you think they helped you, Walter?
That's interesting. I think that there was originally. Did we say there was like a nanoplague storm or something? Is one of
the beasts themselves
beasters
have the nano stuff and are using organics to form themselves.
Yeah. So I think that originally that created a bit of a problem for us, and they like basically helped give us they helped give us genetic medications or whatever that helped us adapt to that.
Oh yeah,
like a nano vaccine that would keep it from like altering or affecting you.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
I like that.
So Primogen, you will mark that you have 2 treaty on the Uplifted on the value.
Let's see. And it says Primogen is supposed to say when that happened.
Oh yeah, is that recent? A long time ago?
What's your sort of like settlement style?
We are settlement style. So we're like a confederation, like a democracy. This very loud democracy of bird creatures, a myriad variety of birdman creatures that have we settle lots of like very like cliff-like or I think like old buildings and large trees where we can find them. There's almost certainly some bird-like creatures, although maybe not part of the Bayou Confederacy in Brazil as well. I think we're just everywhere.
I gotcha.
That's how I'm imagining it. But we're like this tight confederacy, this faction that has formed.
I don't know.
Maybe that's part of what helped the faction form, was you giving this vaccine ended up creating this like much more healthy, cohesive unit that a lot of other birds came to join.
Yeah. So like loud anarchic democracy sounds new, sounds not like a long established society. So this generation or the last one?
Okay,
like
so relatively recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Some of the older generation can still remember it. I like that.
And then let's look at your second history question.
So my next one, I believe I have 3. Let's see. So which of you is related to those who uplifted us? And then I say how we found out, and then they explain their relationship to your progenitors. So which of you
And that can still be
are related to those who uplifted my bird species, my bird creature men?
who wants to take that? Definitely looks like the Enclave of the Cultivators are the ones that lean into that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
You're
all right.
related.
So
I'm related, huh?
the Enclave, yeah.
Related to the progenitors, the people that made the Uplifted.
Yeah. So so I'm gonna say how I found out, and I'm gonna say that we were scouting around in the compound, and we actually, or yeah, I'm gonna say we were scouting around in the compound, and we actually found like basically blueprints
Okay.
for creating our bird creatures, our bird species, the Vayu. And so then, Ari, explain your relationship to the progenitors.
Could be that. Let's see. I would like it to be related to my relationship with dangerous technology somehow. Because we've been like digging up stuff. Maybe we found something that allowed that growth to happen.
That you found something that showed that the progenitors had been like you know, had been earlier tech harvesters.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're going to take two treaty on each other. So you'll each mark that on the other person.
Okay.
Can you clarify a little bit, like tech harvester? What does that mean? Does that mean you mostly like go like searching for ancient tech and then like reverse engineering it and rebuilding it or something? Or
yeah, converting it. Yeah.
Nice. And so you think that that's what the people who uplifted my species actually did? They were themselves like experimenting with ancient technology. So and that's how they ended up creating us.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
And the last one feels a little obvious to me, given Darren's.
Let's see. Which of you hunted us as animals, realizing their mistake far too late?
What?
Perhaps I may have mistaken you for like baby kaiju. It's a dangerous world, all right? It's very confusing out here.
And all right, and we still might have to have some more talks about how you ride around on flighted creatures who you know, there's still a lot of people among my faction who feel that they should be that they're treated like slaves by you, but we'll talk about that. I'm sure we can have a summit or something.
So you will take 2 treaty then on the Bastion.
Okay, sounds good.
And Bastion, you will mark that Vayu have 2 treaty on you.
Sorry, that last one for me, was that 2 treaty I have on them?
That's both ways. We each have 2 treaty on each other for that one.
Okay.
All right. Then Ari, let's look at yours.
Okay. Let's see. Which one of you is civilization's best chance to regrow?
Who do you think that is?
Which one of you is dealing with the biology the most?
That's
think
the
that
cultivators,
was-
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
do you wanna see if who's like growing new things or like killing all the other things? Who are we framing? Who's allowing us to grow?
it's good. That's a good point. I mean, or killing off all the threats to those other ones that want to grow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
or simply thriving. I think the Vayu are we're just having a party. We're like, yeah, this is our time.
What do you think?
Do I need to choose, or
You need to
do we
choose.
just leave it open? I don't really have much on your character yet, Bastion.
Okay. So Bastion will gain 2 treaty on you.
I finally have treaties.
Yes.
There you go.
And then which of them has seen the true power of your technology?
I think I'm going to go with. Let's go with Primogen. That
Okay.
one.
So Primogen, you get 2 treaty on each other.
Nice.
And then last, which one of them holds the brightest mind of the homeland? Homeland.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that over to Bayou.
Okay. So Vayu, you get another 1 treaty
Nice.
on them. Which brings us to our fine behemoth hunters. What are your questions?
My questions are: which of you has given us reason to believe you know things about the behemoths we don't?
Interesting.
Who's? Man, I could see it for everybody, right?
Yeah.
If they're weird technology-based behemoths, so it might make sense if it's the Enclave, if it's the Stark.
Okay.
That we would think that you would know more.
So the Enclave gets 2 treaty on you.
Nope.
Which of them fought alongside you in the last war and let us down at the worst possible moment?
Do you think the Vayu would have some sympathy?
I think the Vayu might have. I can imagine the Vayu having a very conflicted relationship with you. I can imagine that the Vayu were like, saw the utility in fighting with you, in a war, but then like part of our faction just like was like, no, but these are the people who who are like I don't know. Oh, maybe that was related to these are the people who used to hunt us, and we still don't know how we feel about them flying. Our somewhat our cousins, and and we kind of like balked at the last minute during like an important battle, and left your flank exposed. Yeah,
The high point of that last war. So you take 2 treaty on the Vayu. Last question. Which one of them currently hosts the greatest hero of that last war in a respected role?
Man, I kind of like the Vayu again, right? Like, I think the Vayu, like y'all would be able to defend yourselves like completely fine. So with this, like, you could have been there at the last battle.
So take 1 on each. Okay. I'm going to zip us forward because we're going to get this. We're going to get our characters done today. We're going to get this done. Okay. We're going to pop back to our individual pages. Each of you is going to choose a role for your character. The elder is the wise person. The envoy is the traveling diplomat character. The firebrand is essentially the revolutionary. The hunter is as written on the tin. The Reaver is the kind of nasty go and attack things character. The Scavenger goes out and looks for tech. The Seeker is a searcher for knowledge. The Sentinel is a character that can defend things. And the Survivor is just somebody who has figured out how to live out in the wasteland better than other people. So, Darren, you've been thinking about this. You have a sense of your character for that you want to have within this family. You know who you want. What do you want?
I think I want to do the Seeker.
Okay.
First age.
All right. And so you'll choose your stats. We'll worry about backstory in a second. You're going to choose one of those roles to start as. And you're going to choose your moves. The other thing is your family gives you a bonus to one to a stat, either one. So you're going to make that choice. So I'm going to let you get started on that. Ari.
I'll go with the Scavenger.
Scavenger. Okay. That makes sense. Fits with the character there.
Yep.
We'll let you roll on that. Walter.
Okay. I'm having trouble deciding. One that's jumping out at me is the Elder seems interesting, but honestly, like I'm having trouble like putting my
Great. This guy's
hand
going
on all
to
these others.
one,
So
and you'll get to try another playbook later. So
all right, I'll try the Elder.
Patrick, I've done you the favor of taking 3 of them out of contention.
And Walter did me the great favor of taking one of my 2 out. So I think I have like an older member of like a plant-based subfamily. I think he's in charge of this like diplomacy with Drassel. It was going to be Elder Survivor, so I'm going to go with Survivor.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to let all of you get rolling on making those picks. Luckily, it's faster than the family stuff. So Darren, I'll tell you, since you got your thing sort of set there, one of the things that I left off is each character playbook has a different harm track. So you want to look and see what the descriptors are for the levels of harm for your character. Oh, that coffee is cold. Ice cold. All right. Let's have everybody. I'm going to have you give your quick pitch on who your character is. Darren, what's your character's name?
If I don't have it yet. He uses he, him pronouns. Huh? What'd you say?
Male or female?
Male.
Male. Okay.
Masculine pronouns. I'm gonna say it's Stoller. Stoller fashion. Stoller is an agent for Bastion. Masculine with a pale face, bright eyes, and energetic body. They're a visionary archaeologist and a world traveler.
Ooh. And what do those moves generally do? Give us the quick pitch.
So, visionary archaeologist lets me ask some specific questions about runes from the world before and get some use out of it. And then world traveler lets me travel to and from places I know like much more easily.
Excellent. And what kind of gives them this authority? I mean, do people just listen to their advice, or what do you think does that? Or are you going to kind of keep it a little more separate?
I think it just ties in with the moves, right? I think Stoller has this perceived expertise in the world. So there's a lot of deferring to Stoller about if it's not about behemoths and it's not about like regular society, Stoller probably knows.
The dead ancestor group listens to your advice.
Yeah, that's right. Got it. I remember my dead council.
Yes. All right. That gives a sense of Stoller. Let's come to Ari. Ari, tell us about your character.
Yeah, so I'm playing the scavenger. You want to quick think about how I look? Concealed look, gas mask face, appraising eyes, worn body, kind of a even spread on force, lore, steal, and sway. And I'm looking at 2 moves. I honestly am not sold yet on which ones I want to get, but I'm thinking of just enough, and scrap heap ingenuity, which is basically I can pull stuff out of my gear when I need it, and then I'm thinking of like having some kind of a shield or long distance communication with scrap heap.
So do you imagine more of him as rather than being sort of the scientist type of your family, he's one of the people who are out in the trenches going and getting stuff?
Yeah, getting their hands dirty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Male, female?
Let's go with male.
Okay. All right. Well, that gives us a sense of that, and that's probably, you know, someone who does travel out, has a chance to meet other factions and do other things. Okay. And he chose outsider. So is that mostly because he spends time outside of the sort of the authority of the faction, or do you think there's something about his
It's just the
demeanor?
type of places. I think it's the sort of places he goes to are these radioactive or just dangerous places, because he's bringing back this dangerous tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by its nature, I think he finds himself alone a lot, you know, going to those kind of places.
And do you think that he has like do people listen to him? Is he an authority, and that's how that's controlled, or do you think it's more of a distinct thing between the family and the character?
I think he's just really good at what he does, so he's respected for it. And when he has something to say, people do listen to him.
Okay, that makes sense. Then let's move on to Walter. Walter, tell us about your character.
Yes, I am playing Vajrayo, an elder of the Vayu. Ambiguous gender, wise face, sharp eyes, and a bent body. So a mostly humanoid-like face, but with something of like a beak-like nose, and very like kind of feathered, but kind of like a little bit, you know, like a slightly bent wing. He was a hero long ago, and has suffered quite a bit from many battles himself, and now he's too old to fight, but he is one of the very well-respected leaders of the Vayu. He has a very loyal staff. That's one of the most notable things about him as he travels, including a bodyguard and a courier. And he is noted to be a very able leader, so his followers get a +1 quality as well.
And let me ask you this: you mentioned the ambiguous gender. Is that is they them for the pronoun?
Yeah, I'll use they them for the pronouns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that a common thing among your family, or is it an uncommon thing?
Interesting. I think it's relatively uncommon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That certainly gives us a sense. And you're going to take leader as your role?
Oh, I haven't looked over all those roles yet. I haven't decided on that yet.
Now, you'll pick one of those to have started with their little things for advancement. We'll come back to that. But yeah, that sounds okay. Patrick, tell us about your hemlock.
Hemlock.
Ready.
It's the Survivor playbook. Like I said, I think he's an older character from a plant-based sub-bloodline. Probably not something that's very popular amongst the Primogen anymore. It probably moved on more towards creatures. Stop it. Dog just whining at the door because I won't let her go chew everything in the house. Masculine look, weathered face, sunken eyes, marked body. And the weathered, I'm thinking, is very like it's the sort of plant nature. It's sort of a barky growth that's built up on his skin. And I think the marked is a lot of like scars and wounds that come in that like knots and scars and trees sort of look.
Yeah.
So a big thing about the survivor is like the thing you survived. And so for role move, I went with leader. Mark, when the thing you survived threatens your family, say how they'll need to change to survive it. So I think the thing he survived, I think he's like the last of his bloodline, and what killed the rest of them was whatever is in the killing fields. They were plant-based, they were out, they were growing, they were spreading, and they ran across whatever it was. He was fairly young at the time. And I think the thing they've needed to do to change and evolve and survive that is like the making the deal and moving into Drazzle is like his life's project.
Ooh, okay.
That they can't be free roaming and just out there. There's too many dangers. They need someplace safe.
I like that. And there is the ability to do great projects in the
yeah,
game.
I'm definitely thinking of it. It might fall into that wonder category.
All right.
Moves. Yeah, I have able guide. When you forge a path, others can come with you, but they have to decide before I roll. And this won't kill me, which is I can roll when I suffer harm to see how this won't kill me.
Ooh, that's nice.
And you were talking about the harm track. I actually have a little bit better on the harm track because I don't get a solid negative until 4.
Yeah. It's a very interesting choice that it has the harm tracks tied to the playbooks. I think that's a really neat mechanic. All right. So what we're going to do next time is the start of session. I'm going to have everybody give the elevator pitch on their characters again. And that's the point at which we'll do the background things, because that'll help refresh us who everybody is and establish relationships. And then we'll roll out into a thread. As I had mentioned, this is a long character creation process, but we've got so much stuff to play with, and we've got 4 full sessions to do it in. Now, one of the things that will probably happen is the changing of the age. At a certain point, when we think we've kind of dealt with the big threat of an age, we actually roll forward, and then each family will roll based on their mood to see what happens to them, and you have a chance to make up new characters and stuff. So we're definitely going to do that at least once in the course of our play. I'm just going to set that as a hard frame thing, and we'll decide what the timing is on that. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, I'm stoked. I'm like super stoked for this. So excited to see where this goes. It took the whole session, but I'm excited. And if anybody has any questions between now and next time, go ahead and send them on to me. Or if during the week you're like, oh, I thought about this, I actually want this thing, that is fine, and we'll check in with you at the beginning of next session. Anything else, anybody? All right.
I'm pumped.
Okay. I have driven you.
Really awesome. I'm super excited about this.
Ridden the ghost whip on you today. I apologize if I've been pushing too hard, but thank you very much. I am going to stop the broadcast.